Yes, sir. Can hear you.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So let us start to the discussion. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in our last class, we did the calculation of electric dipole transition, and we saw that this transition explicitly depends on the non-vanishing matrix element of the position operator. Okay. So today I will go beyond the dipole approximation, and I also derive try to derive the selection rule of this non-trivial transition. Please wait for a few minutes. Okay. So we have already derived the rate of transition due to the dipole term, and which is explicitly depends on this first leading order term of the exponential factor e to the power I k dot r. And due to this first order approximation of this, not only first order, you can say better, you can say this is the large wavelength approximation or low intensity electromagnetic wave, low intensity approximation of the electromagnetic wave, incident electromagnetic wave. And due to this first order approximation, the rate of transition explicitly depends on the incident frequency, electric charge, and the position of the electron. So therefore, this is the non-trivial matrix. Not only the position operator, it also depends upon the polarization vector epsilon. So this is the typical expression due to the electric dipole transition. So therefore, if you want to get some non-trivial transition, that means if you want to get some non-trivial rate of transition, or so better, you can say to allow transition due to the dipole approximation. So at this case, this matrix element of this dipole operator E times R vector, this is called a dipole operator. So charge into displacement dimension. So this should be non-vanishing. But some case, for suppose we consider some general Hamiltonian, this V is nothing but in case of hydrogen atom, just like a Coulombian potential or Coulomb attraction due to the nucleus. This is the unpart of Hamiltonian. This unpart of Hamiltonian is completely invariant under parity transformation. Why? Because in three-dimensional spherical polar system, the parity transformation defined through this transformation, through this the change of coordinate. That means the r goes to r, theta goes to pi minus theta, and phi goes to pi plus phi. This is the definition of this parity transformation in spherical polar coordinate. So therefore, in abstract sense, okay. So we want to discuss the what is the non-trivial condition to get this non-vanishing matrix element of the dipole operator ER vector. Now, by observation, one can easily check that this Hamiltonian for the Coulombian potential, that means unperturbed Hamiltonian without interaction, is completely invariant under this parity transformation, as you can see in equation 299. And this is the parity operator P, and this is the unperturbed Hamiltonian. So you can define some unperturbed energy state, that is the hydrogen atom energy levels En. Whereas this parity operator, since the Hamiltonian is commute, that if the Hamiltonian invariant under the any transformation, that means the transformation operator itself commute with the Hamiltonian. That means the parity operator commute with the unperturbed Hamiltonian of the hydrogen atom problem. If two operator commutes, on the other hand, we know that they enjoy the simultaneous eigenbasis. That means the eigenstate of this Hamiltonian H naught also be the eigenstate of the parity operators, since they are commuting each other. So, but on the other hand, we also know that the parity operator eigenvalue lies between plus minus 1. So suppose the state is defined k tie, that means the initial state, and define the final state k by kf, have same parity. That means either they enjoy the same eigenvalues of the parity operator P. If they enjoy the same parity state, they cannot be connected by the parity operator. That means any operator which will be the odd under parity transformation. In that case, in our case, for the rate of transition due to electric dipole moment, please look carefully the matrix element. If this in state and this final state with the same parity state, then one can easily check that if we insert some identity operator due to this parity P in between the position operator R, then one can easily observe this parity's middle factor P R P inverse should be goes to minus R, or you can say, let us insert a left identity which can be replaced by P inverse P. Also you can insert a right identity which will be expressed in terms of P inverse P. Since this I, k tie and k tape will also be the same parity state, therefore when P act on this k I, it will give rise to eta, because eta is the eigenvalue of the parity operator. And since this F also be the same parity state, then parity operator act from the right, then it also give rise to same parity eigenvalue. So therefore we have the square of the parity eigenvalue eta. So therefore this turns out that in the middle term will be the P R P inverse, which is nothing but a transformation of the position operator due to the parity operator P. Since the parity operator is an odd operator, so it will give rise to minus times R vector. And this eta square should be plus 1, because eta either plus 1 or minus 1, but eta square in any case would be plus 1. So therefore, we can observe that this expectation, the matrix element of the position operator R is equivalent to minus times of the expectation of the position operator. This simply tells us the expectation, not only expectation, this is the matrix element of the position operator in between the in state and out final state k tape, those have the same parity state, will be 0. So therefore, if this matrix element of the position operator R is 0, Therefore, there are no electric dipole transition. So, the same parity state cannot be connected through electric dipole transition. That is the conclusion. Is it clear? Can you hear my voice? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you again, sir, repeat your statement?
The statement is that if two state, in state and final state, are the same parity state, then these two same parity state cannot be connected through electric dipole transition. So therefore, there are no transition between the same parity states. That is the argument, because if Kt I and Kt F with the same parity state with eigenvalue eta, then this matrix element always 0. Please look carefully equation 300 and 301. Is it understood or not? Please let me know.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay? Okay. So therefore, the conclusion is that the even parity state or odd parity state cannot be connected through this kind of electric dipole operator, or any odd operator cannot connected any even state to even state or odd state to odd state. So therefore, the electric dipole transition take place only to different parities in between the two different parity states. Therefore, point is that electric dipole transition will take place when the in state and final state are different parity states. Okay. If in state and out state are in state or final state are same parity state, either or even, then they cannot be connected through this kind of transition. Now the question is that, can you argue why hydrogen atom eigenstate, that means the unperturbed eigenstate, enjoy the parity, will be the eigenstate of parities? Are there any reason? Can you understand the question? What is the reason the unperturbed eigenstate enjoy the parities eigens values equation? Hello, can you hear me? Hello,
Yes, I can hear you.
can you understand the question? What is the reason? The Hamiltonian invariant under parity transformation? The hydrogen atom Hamiltonian, why it is invariant under parity transformation? That is nothing but a consequence of this invariance of the Hamiltonian under parity transformation. But what is the origin of this invariance?
Because there is a mod 1 by R.
Exactly, because it is a rotationally invariant. So due to the rotational symmetry, the Hamiltonian enjoy the parity invariance. Okay, because R goes to R, only theta and phi will change under the parity transformation. But the potential is independent of the theta and phi. It's only dependent on the magnitude of the R. Okay, so therefore the lesson is that we need to go beyond the dipole approximation for this case. Okay, so now in such case we may need to go higher term in the expansion of this plane wave e to the power I k dot r. In the expansion, the transition matrix element, since this is a typical form of the transition matrix element. This is the contributing from the electromagnetic wave e to the power I k dot r, and this is the relevant term due to the interaction of electron with electromagnetic radiation. Okay, this is the typical term which can generate any higher order transition due to this interaction. Now, up to first order approximation, if we replace this exponential factor e to the power I k dot r by identity, so we get the dipole approximation, dipole transition. Now, if we go beyond this first order term, that means if we consider next leading order term, that means if we expand it, identity plus I k dot r, any higher order term. So for the large wave approximation, you can ignore this k square, because when the lambda is large, then k is very, very small. That means the k square is too small, because k is of the order of 1 by lambda. So therefore, you can ignore this k square term. So we will concentrate ourselves only the first leading order approximation, not first, the second leading order approximation I k dot r. Okay. Apart from this one, if we concentrate only this k dot r times epsilon dot p, so therefore the relevant term now, this kind of approximation is epsilon dot p k dot r. In between is sandwiching in between the k I and bra f. So this term will generate some non-trivial transition, which will called beyond dipole approximation, because the first term will get the dipole approximate term. So if we go beyond this first order term, it will generate some non-trivial, which is called the beyond dipole. Will arise magnetic dipole transition, electric quadrupole transition. Okay. So now, if you look carefully, this k dot term, k dot r, this k is a dynamical variable of the electromagnetic wave, because this k is nothing but a polarization vector or propagation, not polarization vector, it's a propagation vector of the incident wave, and this k is the position of the electron. So note that this k and epsilon are the variable relating to the radiation, and r and p are the variable of the atomic system. So therefore, we'll consider ourselves only this factor k dot and epsilon dot p. So now you can express in terms of the index operation, and you can also take only this variable of the atom r and pj, ri and pj. Okay. Now this ri and product of ri and pj, since ri is a component of 3 vector, pj also be the component of 3 vector, but the product of ri and pj will be the component of what? Rank 2 matrix. So how many components will contain in rank 2 matrix? This will be the tensor. This will be the rank 2 tensor. So how many components will contain for any rank 2 tensor? Yes. Any vector is associated.
In 3D there will be 9.
There will be 9, right? Exactly. There will be 9 components. So we can rewrite this product term as a symmetric traceless rank 2 tensor. This is the first term. Please check carefully. This product ri and pj you can express as or decompose as some traceless rank 2 tensor, an antisymmetric rank 2 tensor. Here it will be you can easily observe that it is nothing but an antisymmetric, because if we interchange I and j, it will generate some, it will pick up some minus sign and some scalar term. This is a scalar term. So therefore, any rank 2 tensor can be decomposed into traceless symmetric rank 2 tensor, one vector or dual of vector and other scalar. Why it is traceless? Can you argue why it is traceless? This first term. Can you why? Yes, yes.
First term is the first term traceless because it's a symmetric term.
Yes, yes. So if we calculate the trace, just replace I equal to j, right? And sum over I. So therefore, this term is equivalent to this term. So this will be cancelled out. Okay. You see, this half factor will be 2. Why? Will be 1. Why? Because when we consider only diagonal part I equal to j, so this is nothing but r dot p. This is also r dot p. So therefore, it will occur 2 r dot p. So this half will cancel out. And now when we consider I equal to j and summing over I, so this delta ij appear as a 3. So this 1/3 will be cancelled out. So therefore, whole term will be cancelled out. So this is the traceless part. And also the symmetric. Why symmetric? If we interchange I and j, it will remain intact. Now look at the second term. Second term is antisymmetric. It is very simple. By observation, you can say it is antisymmetric. And this is the scalar part. Why? Because all terms are diagonal, and each diagonal element will be r dot p, 1/3 of r dot p. So therefore, any 3 cross 3 matrix or rank 2 matrix can be decomposed into traceless symmetric rank 2 tensor, a vector rank 1, and a scalar rank 0. Okay. Now the point is that, okay, 1 minute. Okay. Now the point is that you can say the left hand side contain the 9 element. Okay. So now if you concentrate only the first term, can you say how many independent element coming from this first term? Initially, this also is to be a rank 2 tensor. So the element should be 9, but it is a symmetric and traceless. So symmetric and traceless condition reduce the number of independent elements. So can you say how many number of independent elements coming from this first term?
5.
How?
6.
5 because
No,
condition
5. Right. And symmetric condition give rise to 3. So 3 plus 1, 4. 9 minus 4 will be 5. Okay. Is it okay or not? Can you follow my argument? In general, it is a 3. 3 cross 6. 9. Sorry. Hello.
Sir, can you repeat, please?
Oh, repeat. Yes, of course. I will repeat it again. Please 1 minute. Okay. The point is that initially this first term contain 9 elements because it will contain 2 indices, and each index varies from 1 to 3. So therefore 3 cross 3, this will contain the 9 element. Now the question is how many elements are independent? To find the independent element, please this traceless condition give rise to 1 constant. Okay. Symmetric condition give rise to 3 constant. Symmetric condition give rise to 3 constant. So therefore we have 4 constant. So out of 9 we have 4 constants. So how many independent variables? 9 minus 4, it will be 5. Okay. Can you understand my argument? Because say it is called Tij. The first term called Tij. So if you interchange I and j, so Tij will be Tji. So how many conditions will generate from this expression? Tij equal to Tji. 3 conditions.
3.
So, okay, now sum over TII. Sum over TII. Say this first object is called TIJ. So if we consider sum over TII, it will be 0. Because this is a test condition, na? So TII summing over I equal to 0. So therefore, how many constant will appear? First, symmetric, 3 constant, 4 constant. So out of 9, how many components are independent? 9 minus 4? 5. So this will enjoy the 5 independent elements. Okay. Is it okay, all of you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now look for the second term. This second term contain how many components?
Three independent components.
3 independent components. Why? Why it is 3?
Because there is a delta ij. So it's already
No.
diagonal terms.
Yes. All diagonal terms are 0, right?
Yeah.
Now all diagonal terms are 0.
Okay. I'm sorry. I am talking about the second term. I thought the second term.
No. Only this square bracketing object, second square bracketing
Okay.
object.
That diagonal terms are 0 and all off diagonals are related.
Yes. So therefore 3 independent elements, right? Is not it?
Yes.
3 independent elements. So therefore from this term we'll generate 3 independent elements. From this first square bracket is generate 5 independent elements. And how many independent elements coming from this last term?
One.
What? Bolo? How many elements?
One.
From the last 1. Right. So therefore 5, 3, 1. So total element is 9, right? And from the left side 3 cross 3, also 9. So it is consistent with this decomposition. Okay or not okay? Can you understand my this decomposition rule?
Yes.
So you can say in group theoretic language, okay. Let's say first of all you can say you just write this term, first term Tij, as you as I mentioned earlier, is a symmetric rank 2 traceless tensor. So Tij. Second term you can write is a Lij, is a symmetric antisymmetric second rank tensor. And the last term you can denote it by capital Ij. So therefore this first term is a traceless symmetric tensor. The second term is the antisymmetric second rank tensor, and last term which will be a scalar. So in language of group theory, you can say this 3 cross 3, because it's a 3 dimension. You can represent this R as a element of 3. This P also represent as a element of 3. And since they are two different objects, one is a position, other is a momentum, so you can just replace this product by a tensor product. So you can expand these 3 cross 3 direct product with 3 can be expand as a 5 direct sum 3 direct sum 1. So this is nothing but a irreducible representation of any rank 2 tensor. So this is the irreducible representation. So this is a minimum. You can reduce any 3 cross 3 matrix as a 5 cross 5 block. Not only 5 cross 5 block. It's a 2 cross 2 block with a 5 independent element. It's another 2 cross 2 block with a 3 independent element. and one single element. So this is the decomposition rule. So 5, 3, 1. Is it understood or not? Can you understand this last expression?
Yes.
Are you familiar with this expression in the particle physics course? Young double O method. Are you familiar with this Young double O
No,
technique?
no, it's not. It's not done yet.
Oh, okay. Actually, this is nothing but a representation of baryon and antivariant. Okay, so I think when you learn the particle physics course in your high energy physics part, then you can learn more about this decomposition rule. So at this point, any rank 2 matrix, rank 2 tensor can be expanded as a traceless rank 2 symmetric tensor, antisymmetric rank 2 tensor, and one tensor rank 0 scalar. Okay, now the point is that we just replace Ri and Pj here in equation 303. This is a 303. In equation 303, you can replace this Ri and Pj term by this Tij, Lij, and capital Iij. Is it okay? Is it understood in equation 308?
Yes, sir.
Are there any confusion from this discussion? তোমরা সবাই বুঝতে পারছো?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, in the next leading order approximation in the matrix element, you can express as some decomposition of symmetric, antisymmetric, and scalar. The last term in equation 308, Ij, capital Ij, is nothing but a 1/3 of delta Kronecker delta Ij r dot p. Okay. So when you contract with Ki and epsilon j with capital I small ij, so replace capital I small ij by 1/3 of Kronecker small ij r dot p with contraction with small ki epsilon j. Now this Kronecker ij allow to write this kij epsilon j as a k dot epsilon. Now from the transversality condition or gauge condition, divergence of A means a magnetic vector potential. We consider this divergence of A is 0, and if we replace A as a e to the power I k dot r times some k of A of k, it will give rise to some k dot epsilon, which will be the 0 from is follow from the gauge condition, or you can say this is nothing but a transversality condition. Why it is transversality condition? It tells us that the electromagnetic wave propagate perpendicular to the direction of propagation polarization. That means this is a propagation vector k, this is a polarization vector epsilon. That means the electromagnetic wave propagate along the perpendicular to the polarization vector epsilon. That means if we say the electromagnetic wave propagate along z direction, the polarization vector will be along x-axis and y-axis. So that is why it is called the transversality condition. Or sometimes you can say it is nothing but a gauge fixing as a consequence of the gauge fixing term. That means gauge fixing term means in our case it seeks the Coulomb gauge. That means the divergence of A equal to 0, if divergence of A equal to 0, now you write this A in a Fourier expansion. So that means that you can expand this field A as e to the power I k dot r, some annihilation or creation operator, the mode expansion. So using this Fourier or mode expansion, you can say, you can derive also divergence of A equal to k dot epsilon, or since divergence of A equal to 0, then k dot epsilon also 0. So therefore, the last contribution from the last term is completely 0. Is it okay? Can you understand why k dot epsilon equal to 0? If it is not quite clear, please let me know. হ্যালো, তোমরা শুনতে পাচ্ছ সবাই?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
এই জায়গাটা সবার কাছে কি পরিষ্কার হয়েছে? না হলে আমাকে জানাও। Why k dot epsilon equal to 0? It is clear or not?
স্যার রিপিট করবেন একবার।
সরি, এবার বলো কি বলছো?
স্যার এটা ক্লিয়ার হলো না, একবার রিপিট করবেন?
Oh, fine. Right, of course, repeat করবেন। Please go back to our previous discussion. Hey, yes. In our last discussion, is it okay or not? From our last discussion, this expression y k magnetic vector potential expand as a plane wave times some amplitude, and after substituting this expression of magnetic vector potential in wave equation, it will give rise to some harmonic oscillator equation from which one can rewrite this amplitude just as a is a function of k vector times e to the power I minus omega t. So therefore this vector potential is a typical form is nothing but e to the power I k dot r times some express function of k vector and t. Now you substitute this expression in the cage condition, divergence of A equal to 0. So if we take the divergence of k, so this divergence directly act on this plane wave part e to the power I k dot r. This is the r independent, so it will not affected by this operation, del operation. So del operation only hamper this exponential term e to the power I k dot r. So after using the formula of divergence, so you can already check that this is nothing but a k dot a k. Is it okay or not? This expression last line k dot a is 0.
ওকে স্যার, ঠিক আছে।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ওকে।
Okay, now you okay, fine. So therefore this a is nothing but a polarization vector. So now you can say this k dot epsilon is 0. Okay, not a is a polarization vector, sorry, because this epsilon is a polarization vector. So now when we rewrite this ak in terms of the polarization vector epsilon, so you can easily check that this k dot epsilon is 0. Okay.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, হ্যাঁ ওকে।
Okay, fine. So this is the consequence of divergence of A equal to 0. Since this k dot epsilon equal to 0, so last term will not contribute anything. So therefore, we will concentrate ourselves second term, A light. Again, the second term, you can rewrite the second term as a angular momentum vector. So this is a dual of the vector. Any dual of the vector is a tensor. তোমরা এটা জানো তো? Dual কথাটার মানে বোঝো তো? ম্যাগনেটিক ফিল্ড গুলো হচ্ছে কিন্তু dual of field strength, যেটা Fij. আমরা যে F mu nu বলি ইলেকট্রোম্যাগনেটিক কোয়ান্টাইজেশন বা ইলেকট্রোম্যাগনেটিক থিওরিতে যে F mu nu ফিল্ড টেন্সর, যেটা ফিল্ড টেন্সরটা হচ্ছে একটা টেন্সর, ওটার ডুয়াল হচ্ছে কিন্তু একটা ভেক্টর। তোমরা এই ডুয়ালিটি কনসেপ্টটা কি জানো নাকি অসুবিধা হচ্ছে বুঝতে? See, this Lij is a rank 2 antisymmetric tensor. You can express as in terms of some vector times epsilon ijk. This is a vector. Lk is a component of the vector. When we contract with the Lebesgue symbol epsilon ijk, so it will become as a rank 2 antisymmetric tensor. So this operation is nothing but a transformation from a vector to a tensor. The corresponding tensor is called the dual of the vector Lk. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So this L is the orbital angular momentum of the electron. So now the point is that when we replace this Lij with this expression in equation 310, now substitute this expression in 308, the second term will generate this kind of form. A ki epsilon j times half of epsilon ijk Lk. So therefore the matrix element ki epsilon j times Lij will transform to ki epsilon j half of L epsilon ijk Lk. See, the two epsilon is different. This epsilon is polarized component of the polarization vector, and this epsilon is nothing but Lebesgue symbol. Okay. The last line is clear. Are there any question from this last line?
Sir, I have a question in equation
Yes.
310.
Yes.
You have told Lij is a tensor and Lk is a vector. So
Yes,
we are
yes.
saying that Lk is the dual of Lij or the reverse.
No. Lij is a dual. Sorry, you can say this Lk is a dual of Lij. It is Lk. This Lk is a dual of Lij.
Okay.
Just as a magnetic field. Magnetic field is a vector, right? Magnetic field is a vector, but it will generate from the Fij component. You can remember when you define the field tensor F mu nu. Are you familiar with F mu nu?
Yes.
F mu nu is the field tensor of the electromagnetic field. So when you consider only spatial component is a Fij, right? Fij. This Fij is related to, not directly related to B. When you contract with or you can say this Fij is related to epsilon ijk bk. This bk is for magnetic. So therefore you can say this Fij is a dual of bk. This is called the duality. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Any vector can be associated with rank 2 antisymmetric tensors. So therefore you can make an image of a vector in a higher dimension or higher rank space. That is why it is called duality. Duality is a concept from which one can extract something without going directly from this thing. Okay. So therefore you can say this Lk is Lij is a dual of Lk, and Lk is a vector. So you can write this Lij in terms of Lk. Now after some manipulation you can see that ki epsilon j times epsilon ijk Lk you can write as a L dot epsilon cross k term. Why? Here is a elaborate expression just as a fact of elementary vector algebra. See, ki epsilon j times half of epsilon ijk k you can write as a epsilon ijk ki epsilon j Lk. So you can just see carefully, this is nothing but a triple product expression, right? triple product of three vector k epsilon L. So you can just write this expression as a half of k dot epsilon dot L. So using the cyclicity property, you can just express as a L dot epsilon k cross epsilon. So therefore, the above expression due to the second term Lij can be expressed as a compact way of the matrix element of L dot k cross epsilon. Is it okay or not?
Yes, sir. Okay.
সবাই বুঝতে পারছো? কারোর কোনো ডাউট থাকলে জিজ্ঞেস করতে পারো। এটা যদিও এলিমেন্টারি একদম ক্যালকুলেশন করা হয়েছে, কিছু নতুন নয়। জাস্ট এই এলআই এ যেটাকে ইন টার্মস অফ অ্যাঙ্গুলার মোমেন্টামে লিখে সেটাকে ট্রিপল প্রোডাক্টের টার্মসে এক্সপ্রেস করা হয়েছে। তো নাও the new transition, see, from this second leading order term, you can expect they will generate three different transition because you can expand as a three term. The last term contribution is 0 due to the fact of k dot epsilon is 0. Now concentrate on the second term Lij, and this second term will generate a non-trivial matrix element. This rate expression is nothing but a new transition amplitude, provide a new transition amplitude, and you can see carefully this factor. After some short calculation or when you write in compact way, you can easily observe that this expression is nothing but a magnetic moment, or you can say it is nothing but a Bohr magnetic moment, EH cross by twice mc, the unit of the magnetic moment. So this is nothing but that is why this is called magnetic dipole transition, because any magnetic moment expressed as a mu b times L vector, right? It's not it. Mu as a magnetic moment can be expressed as a mu b times L. Can you remember this thing? The magnetic moment for any electron when you're rotating around a closed loop, this will generate some magnetic moment which is proportional to the angular momentum L. So this is nothing but a magnetic moment of the electron, and it will generate from the orbital motion of the electron. So the electron provide some, or electron in presence of electromagnetic radiation contribute some new transition, and this new transition is called magnetic dipole transition. So this is the new transition from the next leading order term. Is it okay or not? This expression is clear to you? Are the following step is clear? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, so far.
Okay. তোমরা বুঝতে পেরেছো এই লাস্ট রেট যে টার্মটা আমরা লিখেছি এটাকে কেন ম্যাগনেটিক ডাইপোল বলা হচ্ছে? If it is not clear, please let me know.
It's not completely clear. I think it will be.
Sorry, তুমি আরেকবার বলো কি বলছো?
পুরোপুরি ক্লিয়ার নয়, আরেকবার প্লিজ বললে ভালো হবে।
ওকে, এই এক্সপ্রেশনটা সবার পরিষ্কার হয়েছে? L dot k cross epsilon.
হ্যাঁ।
Okay. Now the point is that when you consider on this p factor 2 pi by h times e by mc square, you just adjust some h bar here and some h cube here. That means you just insert one h bar. So just multiply the numerator by h bar and denominator by h bar. So already multiply the numerator by h cut square and denominator by h cut. So already there exists some h cross. So ultimately the result in denominator is of the order of h cube. So therefore you just rewrite this factor e by mc whole square as a e h cross by mc whole square. Now just some two factors, that is why you just write as a proportional. So you can take as a common, or you can just pull the p factor within the matrix element. This, after pushing this factor e h cross by twice mc, the matrix element ultimately becomes e h cross by twice mc times l dot this factor k cross epsilon. So therefore this term we can recognize that this term is nothing but a Bohr magnetic moment, and associate with this L vector, this term is completely defined magnetic moment of the electron due to the orbital motion. Okay, when an electron rotating around a orbit, it will generate a magnetic dipole moment, and this magnetic dipole moment is typical form is mu b times L vector. Okay, so that is why this term is called, and this is the non-trivial term in the transition. So this will generate a new transition, and the name of this transition is called magnetic dipole transition due to this p factor. Is it clear? Hello. হ্যালো, শুনতে পাচ্ছ তোমরা? Can you
Yes,
hear?
sir. Yes, sir.
Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. So now you can see this epsilon. Now we talk about the k cross epsilon term. Now you can recognize that this k cross epsilon term is nothing but a curl of A. Why it is curl of A? It is, you can easily observe that this is nothing but a momentum representation of curl of A, because when you replace this A magnetic vector potential as a epsilon times e to the power I omega t minus k dot r, and this curl operation will take place only this plane special part of the plane wave e to the power I k dot r, and after some computation it will generate k cross epsilon times this factor. So therefore you can say this magnitude of k cross epsilon, because it is a magnitude, okay, it's a mod square. So when you take the mod square, this exponential term will be 1. So therefore this is nothing but a curl of A. So therefore this term is nothing but a L dot B, and this is a responsible term for Zeeman effect. Can you understand my point? What happened? Any problem? Please be respond, otherwise I can understand it's okay or not.
Sir, can you
তোমাদের কি
repeat
এটা বুঝতে কোনো which part?
the last comment which you have made?
Okay, last comment is that the first part EH by twice MC times L, you can recognize this term as a magnetic dipole moment. Okay, now we will
Yes,
concentrate
that's
ourselves the next part, the k cross epsilon part. You can easily recognize that this part is nothing but a curl of A. Why? Because when you rewrite this A in terms of plane wave solution, therefore you can write this vector potential as a epsilon polarization vector times e to the power I omega t minus k dot r. So after taking this curl operation, it will generate the k cross epsilon times this exponential factor. Okay, this equation 315, it is okay or not? তোমার কাছে এটা পরিষ্কার হয়েছে কেন এটা k cross epsilon times exponential factorটা হলো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার ওকে
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, fine. Now when you replace, now you take consider the magnitude from the both side. When you consider the magnitude, this exponential term is 1, right? Because magnitude of e to the power I theta is 1. এটা জানো তো? e to the power I theta magnitude সবসময় 1 হয়. So when you consider the magnitude of this plane wave solution, it will generate 1. So therefore, the magnitude of this B is nothing but a k cross epsilon. So you can think this k cross epsilon is nothing but the strength of the magnetic field. So therefore, this term recognized as a L dot B. Now it is clear or not?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Therefore, we make a correspondence between k cross AE with the magnetic field B. So therefore, you can say this is nothing but a momentum representation of the magnetic field. তোমরা একটু ভালো করে দেখো, যখন আমি ফুরিয়ার সিরিজ করি কোন একটা ফাংশন দেওয়া থাকে f of x, সেটাকে কি রকম ভাবে লিখি? ইন্টিগ্রেশন ওভার fk, সরি নট fk, the gk e to the power I k dot r dk, রাইট? যখন একটা ফাংশনকে ফুরিয়ার সিরিজে লিখি কিরকম করে লিখি? পিরিয়ডিক f of x equal to integration g of k e to the power I k dot r times d of k. Each component of the Fourier term is g of k times e to the power I k dot r, right? So you can see easily from this right hand side of the equation 315, this is nothing but a component of the each Fourier mode which is designated by k and epsilon. Can you recognize this k cross epsilon as a g of k and this factor is a e to the power I k dot r. So therefore, this is nothing but a momentum representation of the magnetic field. Is it okay?
হ্যাঁ স্যার ওকে
So this term must correspond to magnetic field of the radiation arising from transition magnetic moment due to the change in orbital motion of electrons in the atom. So that is why this second term in the next link order will generate magnetic dipole transition, which will be the beyond the electric dipole transition. Okay. Now the concept of the last term contributing nothing. The second term contributing as a magnetic dipole transition. Now we will concentrate ourselves the first term. You see, the first term is nothing but a half of Ri Tj plus. Sorry, here it is also be Rjpi. Okay, not x. So this is the traceless rank 2 symmetric tensor. You can check when you consider the unperturbed Hamiltonian for the hydrogen atom and take the commutator of this factor Ri Rj with H naught, it will generate this term. See, this term, this right hand side in equation 317 is nothing but a first term on the right hand side of equation 316. Okay, and when you consider the diagonal term r dot r with the commutator of this r dot r with the H naught, it will generate the r dot p factor apart from this constant term. So this equation 317, 318 enable us to write the expected matrix element due to this Tij as a of the position operator R. Please look carefully from equation 316 to 319 and let me know is it okay or not. And I will invite you to compute this expression of the commutator explicitly, and I leave it as an exercise to you. Now you consider this is the commutator with Ri, Rj with H naught, it will generate a factor which is nothing but a first term of the expression 316, and the commutator of R square with H naught generate R dot P, which will be nothing but a second term in equation 316. So just write this RT combination in terms of the commutator representation or
হ্যালো
স্যার আপনার আওয়াজটা আটকে যাচ্ছে।
You are
স্যার
not audible, sir.
sorry it's clear now. তোমরা শুনতে পাচ্ছ সবাই এখন?
sir, yes, now clear.
Okay. So the that when you rewriting this expression in terms of the commutator, okay, and within the matrix element, it will generate this energy gap Ei minus Ef because the commutator contain the Hamiltonian, so it will act from right and left. So left and right action generate the energy difference, and the other factor R and R square will generate a extra contribution within the matrix element. And we can easily recognize that this energy gap is equal to the energy of the photon, which is associated with the frequency of the electromagnetic wave omega, and the sandwiching factor within the matrix element is nothing but a quadruple tensor. Electric quadruple tensor. This is not it. Please look carefully the last expression 319. Ri Rj minus 1/3 of Kronecker Ij R dot. You can recognize this term nothing but a electric quadruple term. তোমরা দেখে নিয়ে আমাকে জানাও যে এটা বুঝতে পারছো কিনা, কি করা হলো। স্টেপ গুলো বুঝে রাখো, অ্যাকচুয়াল এক্সপ্রেশন তোমরা নিজেরাই হাতে করে মানে যখন করবে বুঝতে পারবে, কিন্তু লজিক আর স্টেপ এই জিনিসগুলো তোমাদের কাছে ক্লিয়ার হচ্ছে কিনা বলো। Can you hear my voice?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, hello. Sir,
হ্যাঁ বলো,
equation
শুনতে পাচ্ছি।
319 এর ফার্স্ট টার্মটা কি করে আসলো ওটা যদি আরেকবার বলেন।
তো লেফট এই সেকেন্ড টার্মটা না লাস্ট টার্মটা? না আমি কোনটার কথা বলছি, সেকেন্ড টার্মটা না লাস্ট টার্মটা?
সেকেন্ড টার্মটা।
এই 1/3 এই
No, sir,
1/3
actually-
Kronecker Ij
m/2 IH cross into EI minus EF এই জায়গাটাই স্যার আরেকবার যদি রিপিট করেন। টোটালটা যদি করেন
okay,
তাহলে ভালো।
I understand. So the point is that this when you rewrite this factor Ri Pj plus Rj Pi with the commutator, it will automatically contain this mass term, right, from this equation 317. When we eliminate this Ri Pj by symmetric combination of R and P in terms of the commutator Ri Rj with H naught, it will automatically contain this mass term M and or H bar. So therefore this A, the origin of this M and H bar is nothing but the fact of this commutator in equation 317. Okay.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ওকে।
Okay. Now the point is that what about the energy difference? Why? Because when you break the commutator as a Ri Rj H naught minus H naught Ri Rj, so this commutator act from left and commutator and this Hamiltonian first act from the left. So if you do the left action, because the left action will get some initial state keti, which will be the eigenstate of unperturbed Hamiltonian, and from the right action it will generate minus EF, because the right side it act on the bra of F. So therefore this Hamiltonian after the action will generate the energy difference EI minus EF. Is it okay? The explanation is clear or not? Okay, fine. Go on this above expression. Yeah, bolo কিছু বলছো? Anything else? সবাই বুঝতে পারছো তো এখানে কেন এই কমিউটেটর গুলোকে ইউজ করছি? তোমরা কিন্তু কেয়ারফুলি অবজার্ভ করো। আমি যখন ইলেকট্রিক ডাইপোল ট্রানজিশন করেছিলাম তখনও কিন্তু হ্যামিল্টনিয়ানের সাথে একটা কমিউটেটর নিয়েছিলাম। তোমাদেরকে রিকগনাইজ করাই, আমরা যখন ইলেকট্রিক ডাইপোল ট্রানজিশন আলোচনা করেছিলাম, এই যে ইনিশিয়ালি তো ম্যাট্রিক্স এলিমেন্টে এসেছিল যে মোমেন্টাম অপারেটর, সেটাকে আমরা এক্সপ্রেস করেছিলাম পজিশন অপারেটরের ম্যাট্রিক্স এলিমেন্ট। দেখো ইকুয়েশন 3264 থেকে কিভাবে করেছিলাম, সেটা করেছিলাম হচ্ছে এই আনপার্টাম হ্যামিল্টনিয়ানের সাথে পজিশন অপারেটরের কমিউটেটরটা ক্যালকুলেট করেছিলাম, which will express in terms of this momentum operator. So the momentum operator can be eliminated through the position operator using this expression. So therefore this is a nice trick to eliminate this any momentum operator within the matrix element, in terms of the position operator and the incident frequency of the incident wave. So this commutator enable us to write the momentum in terms of the position. So therefore when we consider the beyond dipole approximation first term, this first term also contains this momentum operator. যখনই momentum operator দেখবে কোথাও এসেছে, এটা খুব ডেঞ্জারাস টার্ম। মানে momentum operator সবসময় একটা ডেরিভেটিভ করে এটা মানে ক্লামসি এক্সপ্রেশন জেনারেট করতে পারে। ওই জন্য আমি সবসময় এই কমিউটেটর আর পজিশন অপারেটরের টার্মসে মোমেন্টামকে সবসময় এলিমিনেট করছি। দেখো সব জায়গা থেকে আমি পি কে সরিয়ে এক্সপ্রেশনটাকে অনলি আর এর টার্মসে লেখা হয়েছে। And when we rewrite this expression, this Tij in terms of this R, it will get as a and it ultimately is land up as a quadruple moment, right? The quadruple momentum. So that means that the quadruple moment of the electric dipole, electric quadrupole transition. It will generate some electric quadrupole transition because this is the quadrupole tensor. This Ri Rj minus 1/3 of Kronecker Ij R square is nothing but a quadrupole tensor Qij. Is it okay or not? Can you recognize that it is nothing but a quadrupole term?
Yes.
When you consider the multipole expansion, the first term is monopole, second term is a dipole, and the next term is the quadrupole. And this is the typical expression of the quadrupole tensor. So therefore, the leading order approximation beyond dipole approximation will generate another transition apart from the magnetic dipole transition, which is nothing but a electric quadrupole transition, because it will contain a quadrupole term. This is nothing but a quadrupole term. E charge times quadrupole tensor is nothing but a quadrupole term, and it is responsible for a non-trivial transition. So it is denoted by rate of transition from initial state to final state due to the quadrupole term. Is it okay or not? So we have two non-trivial transition due to the next leading order approximation. The first non-trivial transition due to the magnetic dipole transition, and second non-trivial transition is nothing but the electric quadrupole transition. So therefore we have three non-trivial transition. First approximation, for the first order approximation, we have the electric dipole transition, which will be the more relevant term. When this electric dipole transition will be 0, then we will go beyond the electric dipole transition, and this beyond approximation will generate a magnetic dipole transition, and on the other hand, it will also generate electric dipole transition. Our whole game is designed to contain the 3 transitions: electric type transition, magnetic dipole transition, and electric quadrupole transition. Are there any questions from the discussion? Please let me know if you have any question on the above discussion. Is it okay? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
So this electric dipole transition we get at the first order approximation. Is it?
No. It is a second order approximation. Next leading order approximation. Sorry. You are talking about the electric dipole.
Yes, electric dipole.
Yes, it is a first leading order approximation.
And
that means when you expand this series, please carefully, this equation 302. So e to the power I k dot r can be expanded 1 plus I k dot r plus of the order of k square. If we concentrate only identity term, it will generate electric dipole transition. Okay, and if we concentrate beyond this identity term, it will generate magnetic dipole transition, and as well as it will also generate electric quadrupole transition.
Okay, sir.
Okay. আবারও তোমাদেরকে রেকগনাইজ করাই, this methodology is nothing but a perturbative expansion of S matrix formulation. Can you recognize this? Can you recognize this operation? When you consider some S matrix, it will nothing but a matrix element of the interaction Hamiltonian e to the power I h n t dt. Okay. Now you consider the perturbative expansion using the Feynman-Dyson series, and each component of the expansion generate a non-trivial scattering amplitude. Right? This is the program of this perturbative expansion of the X matrix formulation. Are you familiar with this language?
Yes, sir.
তোমরা বুঝতে পারছো আমি কি বলতে চাইছি? মানে তোমাদের এখানে তো মানে পার্টারবেটিভ এই এস ম্যাট্রিক্সটা কজনে মানে পড়েছো? ম্যাক্সিমাম জন কি জানো? কোয়ান্টাম ফিল্ড থিওরিতে
কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্সে প্রায় সবাই জানে।
সরি শুনতে পাচ্ছি না, কি বলছো? এস ম্যাট্রিক্স জানা নেই তোমাদের? ও
না স্যার, কয়েকজনের জানা আছে, মানে অনেকে কোয়ান্টাম ফিল্ড থিওরি নেয়নি তো।
আচ্ছা বুঝতে পেরেছি। তোমাদের তো টাইম ডিপেন্ডেন্ট পার্টারবেশন থিওরি তো পড়ানো হয়েছিল নিশ্চয়ই সেমিস্টার 2 তে। তো সেখানে তো ফাইনম্যান-ডাইসন সিরিজটা ডিরাইভ করেছো?
হ্যাঁ, ফাইনম্যান-ডাইসন সিরিজ দিয়ে ওখান থেকে এস ম্যাট্রিক্স হয়েছিল।
তা কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্স তো এস ম্যাট্রিক্স তো কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্সেই এসছে, তার মানে আমি কি বলছি বুঝতে পারছো নাকি তোমাদেরকে সেইভাবে দেখানো হয়নি? এস ম্যাট্রিক্সটা কিন্তু ফিল্ড থিওরির জন্য তৈরি হয়নি। হিস্টোরিক্যালি ডাইসন ফার্স্ট করেছিল কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্সে, সেটা ফাইনম্যানকে সে মানে স্টোরিটা বলেছিল। ফাইনম্যান সেখান থেকে আইডিয়া নিয়ে ফিল্ড থিওরিটা সেটাকে জেনারেট করেছে, কিন্তু ফান্ডামেন্টালি সেটা ফার্স্ট আইডিয়াটা ডেভেলপ হয়েছিল টাইম ডিপেন্ডেন্ট পার্টারবেশন থিওরির ওই যে ইভলিউশন অপারেটরটা লেখা হয় ইউটা, যেটাকে এক্সপানশন মানে একটা ওই ইটারেটিভ সলিউশন করে লেখা হয়, যেটাকে ফাইনম্যান-ডাইসন সিরিজ বলে। ওই ফাইনম্যান ডাইসন সিরিজের যে ইভলিউশন অপারেটরটা ওটাই যদি অ্যাসিম্পটোটিক লিমিট নাও টি নট গোস টু ইনফিনিটি টি গোস টু ইনফিনিটি, ওটাই হয়ে যায় এস ম্যাট্রিক্স। বুঝতে পারছো কি বলছি? মানে ইভলিউশন অপারেটরটা তো সবাই জানো, টাইম ডিপেন্ডেন্ট পারটারবেশন থিওরিতে কিভাবে আসে। Are you followed my point?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So whenever you find out any evolution operator in time-dependent perturbation theory, and now you take the in state at remote past and out state at infinite future, then the evolution operator which connect the remote past with the infinite future is called the S matrix. S matrix nothing but a evolution operator. Why this S? S is a stand for the scattering. Okay, if you consider, are you familiar with the Born approximation? Are you familiar with the Born series? The Born approximation is a scattering theory. Hello. Sorry, can you hear my voice? তোমাদের বর্ন অ্যাপ্রক্সিমেশন কি মানে কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্সে ছিল না?
No, sir. Actually, sir taught us one approximation.
স্যার আমি শুনতে পাচ্ছিলাম, কি বলছো আরো বলো।
Sir taught us one approximation in quantum mechanics too.
Okay, so you are familiar with the quantum mechanics Born approximation.
Yes.
So this Born approximation is nothing but a মানে কিভাবে তোমাদেরকে বোঝানো যেতে পারে, ধরো তোমরা টাইম ডিপেন্ডেন্ট পারটারবেশন থিওরিতে যে হ্যামিল্টনিয়ানটা নিয়েছো, দেখো টাইম ডিপেন্ডেন্ট পারটারবেশন থিওরিতে h টাকে লেখা হয় h নট প্লাস h ইন্টারঅ্যাকশন। ওকে, এবার যদি বলো যে h নটটা যে আনপার্ট অফ হ্যামিল্টনিয়ান ওটা হচ্ছে একটা বাউন্ড স্টেট প্রবলেমকে ডেসক্রাইব করে, তাহলে কিন্তু ওটা যেরকম ভাবে আমরা টাইম ডিপেন্ডেন্ট পারটারবেশন থিওরিতে স্ক্যাটার ট্রানজিশন গুলো আমরা স্টাডি করছি, এই যে এখানেও যেটা করছি সেটা হচ্ছে ট্রানজিশন, তখন আমরা ওটাকে বলবো ট্রানজিশন অ্যামপ্লিটিউড। ওই যে ইনিশিয়াল স্টেট থেকে ফাইনাল স্টেটে যে যাচ্ছে সেটা হচ্ছে ট্রানজিশন হচ্ছে। কিন্তু যদি এই আনপার্টার হ্যামিল্টনিয়ানটা একটা ফ্রি থিওরিকে ডেসক্রাইব করে, ফ্রি পার্টিকুলার স্টেট হয়, তাহলে স্টেটগুলোকে বলবো স্ক্যাটারিং স্টেট। ফ্রি মানে বুঝতে পারছো তো, মানে কোনো পটেনশিয়াল নেই, h নটটা হচ্ছে জাস্ট ফ্রি পার্টিকেল p²/2m। তাহলে ওর যে স্টেটগুলো সেগুলো হবে একটা ফ্রি স্টেট। এবার যদি তুমি ওই ওই যে তুমি ইভলিউশন অপারেটরটাকে ডিরাইভ যদি করে অ্যাসিম্পটোটিক লিমিট নাও t goes to infinity to t goes to plus infinity, তাহলে ওই ইভলিউশন অপারেটরটাকে বলা হয় থাকে S matrix. That means this is correspond to a transition, not transition, this is scattering from one free particle to other free particle. স্ক্যাটারিং ফেনোমেনা সবসময় ফ্রি স্টেটের মধ্যে হয়, এবং সেই কারণেই মানে ইন্টারঅ্যাক্টিং কোয়ান্টাম ফিল্ড থিওরিতে যেতেই হবে না, তোমার কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্সটাকে যদি একটু অন্যভাবে দেখো তাহলে দেখতে পাবে কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্সের যা ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ বলা হচ্ছে সেগুলোকে পুরো বলতে পারো কপি করা হয়েছে কোয়ান্টাম ফিল্ড থিওরিতে। শুধু ওখানে একটা ডাইমেনশন ছিল কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্সটা, অনলি ওয়ান ডাইমেনশন, একটা ডাইমেনশন মানে টাইমটাই হচ্ছে একমাত্র প্যারামিটার। ইন কোয়ান্টাম ফিল্ড থিওরি স্পেস টাইম অলসো বিকেম অ্যাজ এ প্যারামিটার। এই হচ্ছে জেনারেলাইজেশন। তোমরা বুঝতে পারলে আমার কথাগুলো?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very easy if you understand more clearly. It's nothing big deal to generalize one theory in quantum mechanics to other quantum field theory. Okay, fine. Now the point is that in beyond dipole approximation we have two non-trivial transition, the magnetic dipole, another is the electric dipole. So therefore to summarize, if we summarize our result, so we have the three non-trivial matrix element. One is called electric dipole transition. The expression of this transition amplitude is proportional to this factor. That means the non-trivial matrix element is contained the position operator. Other is rate of magnetic dipole transition, which will contain the matrix element of angular momentum and magnetic field. The magnetic field is a parameter, so it is not an operator. K cross epsilon is a parameter, so you can take outside the matrix element. So it is completely depend upon the angular momentum vector. So magnetic dipole moment is depend upon the matrix element due to the angular momentum operator. On the other hand, we have some electric quadrupole transition, and this transition amplitude depends on the matrix element of this quadrupole operator. So therefore, this is a non-trivial transition. Now the point is that we look forward for the what condition the matrix element will be non-zero. These conditions are called selection. So far we have discussed the classification of the transitions due to the electromagnetic interaction with atom. Now we will discuss concept of selection rule. আমাদের এখনো অবধি যা ডিসকাশন করা হয়েছে তাতে কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে, তাহলে আমি একটা নিউ পয়েন্ট নিয়ে ডিসকাস করতে শুরু করব। যদি কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকে আমাকে বলতে পারো।
Sir, hello. Sir,
হ্যাঁ, বলো।
you are saying something about the Zeeman effect corresponding to the magnetic dipole transition.
Dipole transition, exactly. This term is completely responsible. This is the main responsible term for this Zeeman effect. This is called the normal Zeeman effect. Okay, and if you study the anomalous Zeeman effect, you need to encounter the spin contribution. Without spin, this is called the normal Zeeman effect, because this is nothing but a L dot B term, right? L dot B. This K cross epsilon you can recognize is nothing but a magnetic field state. So if magnetic field along Z direction, so therefore this L is nothing but a LZ. So this is nothing but a main source of the G1 splitting. Is it your question, or you are saying some other point?
Yes, I was saying the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
In future, will we see that in this Zeeman effect
Yes.
term?
Yes. I will also talk about the G1 splitting, Paschen-Black effect, and relativistic correction in our next class. More elaborately. Okay. At this level, I will discuss the origin, why the Zeeman term contributing in the unperturbed Hamiltonian. Because due to this, nothing but a fact of external magnetic field. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Fine. So this is the responsible term due to the above transitions. Now we look forward selection, where we also discuss and derive the selection rule using some trick. This trick is not discussed in your textbook, so please observe carefully. Okay. এটাকে অনেক ভাবে করা যায়, এটা কমপ্লিকেটেড ওয়েতে অনেকে ডিসকাস করে, সবচেয়ে সহজ করে কি করে বোঝানো যায় আমি সেই জন্য আমি এইভাবে একটু অন্যভাবে আলোচনা করার চেষ্টা করব। তার আগে তোমরা জানো, তোমরা উইগনার-রিকার্ড থিওরেম জানো? Are you familiar with this Wigner-Rickard theorem?
No, sir.
Why?
No, sir.
Are you not familiar with the tensor operator, vector operator, or irreducible representation of the operators? Are you not familiar in the quantum mechanics course? In the discussion of vector operator, tensor operator. Wigner-Rickard theorem is a very important chapter in quantum mechanics. তোমরা কি ব্যাপার বলো তো, কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্স এরকম খাপছাড়া কেন জিনিসপত্রগুলো? কোন টেক্সট বুক ফলো করতে? Can you hear my voice?
সাকুরাই মানে কোয়ান্টাম
সাকুরাইতে তো
অ্যাকচুয়ালি কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্স ওয়ানটা আমাদের খুব ভালোভাবে হয়নি, ওই জন্য অনেকটা নিজের দিকে পড়তে হয়েছিল, ওই জন্য প্রবলেম।
ওহো আচ্ছা আচ্ছা। এনিওয়ে, তাহলে আমি ওই ইউলারিকার থিওরেমটাকে যতটা অ্যাভয়েড করে পড়ানো যায় সেই চেষ্টা করছি, মানে জিনিসটা বোঝা নিয়ে কথা। এবার কিভাবে বুঝছো সেটা একটা সায়েন্টিফিক ওয়ে হলেই হলো। ওকে ফাইন। সো we have already derived the rate of the electric dipole transition, and it will depends on the non-trivial matrix element of the position operator. So this is the non-trivial matrix element. Apart from this electric, it is nothing but a polarization vector. Now, from observation, you can say that the rate of transition is significant if and only if the matrix element is non-zero. Okay. If this matrix element is non-zero, then this transition is allowed. If it is zero, then transition is not allowed. So we have already encountered that if the initial state and final state enjoy the same parity of state, then this matrix element is automatically zero. So therefore, electric dipole transition will take place only the two different states. In state and final state will be the different state of the parity operation. So if we consider this initial state and final state having different parity state, then the non-trivial condition which will give rise to the non-zero matrix element is called the selection rule. And to derive the selection rule, let us consider this polarization vector. First of all, you consider this polarization vector pointed along z direction. Okay. So therefore, we consider for simplicity the electromagnetic wave polarized along z direction. So therefore, you can say this epsilon is directly proportional to the unit vector Ez. Ez is a unit vector along the z direction. So therefore, this R is nothing but a z. That means the third component of the position operator. So now for non-trivial electric dipole transition, this will be non-zero. Now we know that the commutator of Lz and Z will be zero. Now if we sandwich this commutator within ket I and bra F, this will be zero. And now consider some initial state is designed by Ni, Li and Mi, which is nothing but a principal quantum number, angular momentum quantum number, and magnetic projection quantum number, and some final state which is denoted by Nf, Lf, and Mf. Now using this notation, one can easily check that this, when we break the commutator explicitly Lz and Z, when Lz act left, it will generate, when Lz act from right, it will generate Mf times H cross, and when Lz act from left, it will generate minus Mi times H cross. And now take common H cross, it is nothing but Mi minus Mf times the expectation, the matrix element of this Z. I mean the third component of the position operator will be zero because the commutator itself zero. So therefore, if this matrix element of this non-zero, if and only if this Mi equal to Mf, so therefore the delta M equal to zero. This is the condition for allowed electric dipole transition when the radiation, incident radiation, polarized along z direction. Is it clear to you or not? Please be respond. Is it clear or not?
Okay, sir. Yes.
Okay. সবার কাছে পরিষ্কার হয়েছে? কারোর কোনো ডাউট থাকলে বলো। Any questions? Okay. If not, then interpretation of this result is that this non-trivial transition amplitude tell us the electric field oscillating along the z direction if and only if the delta M is 0. Now, if the polarization vector perpendicular along z direction, here we consider the polarization is parallel or along the z direction. Now, another possibility is the polarization may be perpendicular to the z direction. So therefore, this epsilon dot r can be rewrite as a component from epsilon 1 x1 plus epsilon 2 x2, where x1 x2 is the component of the position operator along x and y direction, and epsilon 1 epsilon 2 be the component of this polarization vector along x and y direction respectively. Now you can express this factor in terms of the complex term. You can decompose into the complex term. So therefore, you can rewrite this epsilon dot k as a epsilon plus r minus plus epsilon minus r plus. And you can easily check that this r minus and r plus is nothing but a x by x1 plus minus I x2. And epsilon plus minus is nothing but a epsilon plus minus I epsilon 2. So this is a technique. This is a non-trivial alternative technique to derive the selection rule. Otherwise, you have to follow the Wigner-Ricard theorem. So therefore, it can be shown that the commutator of r plus minus, and you can for notation, this r plus and r minus is called spherical operator. This r plus and r minus is called spherical operator, whereas this x1 x2 called Cartesian operator. Okay, this r plus and r minus is called spherical operator. Now when you consider the commutator of the spherical operator r plus minus with Lz, it will nothing but this commutator. When you compute this commutator explicitly, it will generate the factor plus minus h cross times r plus minus. Are you familiar with this commutator? Can you derive this result from your own side? Are you able to derive this result? If not, please let me know.
Think we can. I can.
Okay, very good. So now, again we consider the matrix element of the commutator of Lz with r plus minus, which will be the matrix element of r plus minus. Now, if we expand this commutator or break this commutator as a Lz r plus minus minus r plus minus Lz, from the Lz when act from left, it will generate minus mi. When Lz act from right, it will generate mf. So here we use the fact of Lz act on Lmn equal to mh cross times Lmn. Okay. So therefore, using the eigenvalue of Lz, we can rewrite the above expression as a h cross times mf minus mi times r matrix element of r plus minus, which will be the plus minus h cross times matrix element of r plus minus. Since this r plus minus is a non-trivial matrix element, because we search for non-trivial electric dipole transition, so you can cancel from both sides. If it is 0, then you cannot cancel. From non-zero, you can cancel. So therefore, h bar cancel out. So ultimately, mf minus mi equal to plus minus 1. So therefore, the circular polarization, this is called the circular polarization. Okay, this is the basis. This is the polarization basis. Epsilon 1 plus minus I epsilon 2. For circular polarization, is the selection rule is delta m plus minus 1. For linear polarization, the selection rule is delta m equal to 0. So selection rule due to the m is nothing but a 0 and plus minus 1, depending upon the polarization direction of the polarization. Please look carefully, and if you have any doubts, please let me know. Please let me know if you have any doubts. তোমরা বুঝতে পারছো কিনা বলো, কি হচ্ছে সেটা বুঝতে পারছো নাকি অসুবিধা হচ্ছে আমাকে জানাও।
Sir, here the term bra-f sandwich r plus minus k tie, this term is non-zero. We are considering it to be non-zero. That's why we can cancel. Right?
Yes, that's time we should be yes, of course, you are right.
Sir, how can we argue that it will be non-zero?
Because we want to consider the case where this term is non-zero.
Okay, I get it.
Okay. If you consider the case where this term is zero, then whole game is up. খেলাটাই তো বন্ধ হয়ে যাবে, আমার তো নন জিরো ম্যাট্রিক্স এলিমেন্ট খোঁজার মানেই তো থাকবে না। আমি খুঁজতে চাইছি নন জিরো ম্যাট্রিক্স এলিমেন্ট কি করে পাওয়া যেতে পারে, কোন কন্ডিশনে।
Yes, sir, I get it. Okay.
Fine, very good. Any other question from other fellows? So you can recognize this delta m and delta m plus minus 1 and 0 will be the selection rule. Okay. Now the other point is that if you consider to determine the allowed transition between angular momentum magnetic projection. Okay. Yes.
Sir, your
Hello?
voice broke. Can you repeat, please?
Is it now clear? Hello, can you hear
Yes,
my
now
voice?
it is clear.
Yeah, now it's clear.
Okay. So far we have discussed the selection rule due to the magnetic projection quantum number, right? Because we only derive the condition for delta m. We are not talking about some other quantum number, orbital principle. Fine. Now, to determine the allowed transition between different L value, or you can say what about the selection rule due to the angular momentum quantum number L. So to determine the selection rule for the angular momentum quantum number, we have to consider other commutator apart from Lz with some other operation. Here we consider the identity, the nested commutator of L square with R vector. And after some little algebra, you can already check that this commutator is land up with this following expression. And I will leave it as an exercise. Okay, please do it by your own hand and check is it consistent or not with your result. And if you sandwich this nested commutator within the initial state and final state, which will be the eigenstate of the unperturbed Hamiltonian and the eigenstate of the hydrogen atom Hamiltonian. And now if you expand this, if you directly use this result of the commutator, so you can write in the left hand side as in the matrix element of the operator symmetric combination of R vector and L square with this numerical term 2h bar square. This is comes from the identity 332. So now you break this nested commutator. If you break the nested commutator of L square and R, and after some little algebra, you will get this compact expression. And from this compact expression, and now you impose if this matrix element is non-zero. If this matrix element is non-zero, then the vanishing condition, if and only if the Li minus Lf will be plus minus 1. Is not it? Can you recognize that? If this matrix element is not zero, then to consistent with this expression, this term will be zero. If because this L is a positive quantity. If L is a positive quantity, and to satisfy the zero condition, there are only one way to introduce this zero. The way is Li minus Lf will be plus minus 1. So therefore, this will give rise to the selection rule for the orbital quantum number, which will be the delta L equal to plus minus 1. So therefore, the observed selection rule are delta L equal to plus minus 1, delta ML equal to plus minus 1 and 0. So the selection rule or the nature of the selection rule give rise to electric dipole transition. So therefore, for non-trivial electric dipole transition, we have to follow this kind of selection. State connected through non-trivial electric dipole transition if two state satisfy this kind of condition, and this condition is called the selection rule. Is it okay or not? তোমরা একটু দেখো ভালো করে যে আমি কিন্তু সবসময় একটু অবজার্ভ করা সবসময় একটা কমিউটেটেড এক্সপ্রেশন ধরে নিয়ে কাজ করছি পুরো ক্যালকুলেশনটা জুড়ে। তোমরা প্রশ্ন করতেই পারো যে এই কমিউটেটর গুলো আমি জানছি কি করে, কোত্থেকে জানলাম যে এটা ধরলেই এটা আসবে, সেইটা বলতে পারো যেটা একটা আমি মানে ইনটিউশন থেকে বলার চেষ্টা করছি। কিন্তু তোমরা যদি ফ্রম স্কেচ থেকে করতে যাও উইদাউট এনি কনসিডারেশন, তো ইউ হ্যাভ টু লার্ন দিস Wigner-Eckart theorem or you have to follow this kind of tricky business. তোমরা বলে দাও যে কমিউটেটরটা কোত্থেকে এসেছে, সেটা নিয়ে প্রশ্ন করার কোনো প্রয়োজন নেই। এটাকেও আমরা ডিরাইভ করে দেখছি এভাবে আসে, এবং এটাকে ইউজ করলে আমরা অটোমেটিক্যালি সিলেকশন রুল খুব সহজে বার করতে পারছি। দ্যাট ইজ দ্য ফ্যাক্ট। Is it clear or not? The way of the derivation of selection rule is clear to you? Hello, can you hear my voice? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, তোমরা বুঝতে পেরেছো
Answer,
কি
yes.
আলোচনা করতে চাইলাম? কোনো ডাউট আছে
হ্যাঁ।
কারণ?
Yes, sir.
আচ্ছা, তোমাদেরকে আমি রিকোয়েস্ট হ্যাঁ বলো। Yes.
Sir, can you explain the last line, the nature of this transition electric dipole?
Oh, the nature of the transition are electric dipole because this transition rule is based on the non-vanishing position operator, right? And this non-vanishing position operator is connected when you consider non-trivial electric dipole transition. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay, so this is the consequence of non-trivial dipole transition. To get non-trivial dipole transition, the non-trivial condition is delta L equal to plus minus 1 and delta ML is plus minus 1 0. In all case, when you apply some, when you check which transition is allowed, which transition is forbidden, we have to use this kind of selection rule. And those transition follow this kind of selection rule, they should be in electric dipole transition. That means the nature of the transition are electric dipole. Now, you can ask the following question: what about the other kind of transition? That means the magnetic dipole transition, quadrupole transition. What happened for this? For fate of selection rule, this kind of other transition. I will tell you that this, for case of this magnetic dipole transition, when you consider the magnetic field along z direction, this L is nothing but Lz. So therefore, you can easily observe that for non-trivial magnetic dipole transition, you need to follow the non-vanishing quantum number, non-vanishing difference of the quantum number, or you can say the selection rule for the non-trivial magnetic dipole transition is completely described by the mth quantum number or the magnetic projection quantum number. Why? Because the matrix element is completely depend on the component of the orbital angular moment, right? This is the component because this contains the dot product, not L vector. This is a dot product. So therefore, when you consider magnetic field z direction, then this component will be Lz. When you consider the component along x or y direction, this component will be Lx or Ly. So in any case, it boils down to the eigenvalue of the angular momentum operators, the components of the angular momentum operator. So therefore, in that case, the magnetic dipole transition, the selection rule will be delta m plus minus 1 and 0. And delta L can be anything. Delta L can be anything. Delta L means, the magnitude of the total angular moment, the orbital angular moment. Because the magnetic dipole transition is not depend on the eigenvalue of the orbital angular moment. It is explicitly depend on the component of orbital angular moment. I followed this discussion. This magnetic dipole term is depend on the component of angular momentum operator, not total magnitude of the angular momentum operator. So therefore, the selection rule depends on the third component of angular momentum operator. And the other case, the electric quadrupole transition, I will leave it as an exercise. You try to find out some selection rule for this kind of non-trivial electric dipole transition. If you fail to derive the transition, then I will deliver the solution. তোমরা কি এই ম্যাগনেটিক ডাইপোলের জায়গাটা বুঝতে পেরেছো? ডাইপোল ট্রানজিশন ইলেকট্রিক ডাইপোল নয়, ম্যাগনেটিক ডাইপোল ট্রানজিশনে শুধু এল এর কোয়ান্টাম নাম্বারের কম্পোনেন্টের উপর ডিপেন্ড করবে। If it is not clear, please let me know. Yeah, yes.
Sir, not too much clear. Can you please explain?
Okay. See, this matrix element explicitly depend on the component of L vector, right? Are you agree with this point?
Yes.
So therefore, the non-trivial to get the non-trivial matrix element, the selection rule will be restricted to the third component of the angular momentum operator. Either delta m is 0 or delta m is plus minus 1. Is not it? If this polarized along or magnetic field and pointed along z direction, then you just already check that this selection rule is described by delta m equal to 0. If the magnetic field pointed along y direction or x direction, then delta m will be plus minus 1. So whatever be the numerical term, the selection rule can be described only the third component of the angular momentum operator, the eigenvalue of the third component of the angular momentum operator, because it is explicitly depend on the component of the angular momentum operator. So selection rule for yes. Yeah, bolo.
Okay, sir. I got it.
Okay. And next class, I will discuss the quadrupole transition, some point about the quadrupole transition, and I will discuss the relativistic correction on hydrogen atom problem. That is which will be the consequence of fine structure effect and the relativistic correction on kinetic energy. That means the consequence of fine structure splitting and the spin orbit interaction. Any other question? Any points? তোমাদের যদি কারো কোনো মানে বুঝতে অসুবিধা হয়ে থাকে আজকে যেটা আলোচনা হয়েছে তাহলে আমাকে জানাও। If you have any question, please let me know. If not, then I will stop here. And in next class, we will discuss the relativistic effect on hydrogen atom problem. Anyway, did you get the third assignment paper?
Yes, sir.
ওকে, সবাই অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট জমা দিয়েছে এখানে যারা আছো?
আগেরটা জমা দিয়েছি, মানে যেটা ওই 7 তারিখে।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, মানে সেকেন্ড অ্যাসাইনমেন্টটা জমা দিয়েছো বলছো?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
ওকে। এনিওয়ে, আমি লক্ষ্য করছি তোমাদের মধ্যে অনেকেই লিভ করে যায়। তোমাদের কি বুঝতে কোনো অসুবিধা হচ্ছে? মানে ডিসকাশনটি কি বুঝতে কোথাও কোনো অসুবিধা হচ্ছে? মানে বুঝতে পারছো না, জোর মানে বুঝতে হচ্ছে বাধ্য হয়ে, এরকম কিছু ব্যাপার হচ্ছে কি? তাহলে আমাকে জানাও। তাহলে